Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you, as is usual. So for this one we're going to go back to Wales, and I believe this is only my second Welsh beer review. I did the Silurs beer from the Celt Experience for you before, which was really awesome, a really nice big bitter beer. So hopefully this one kind of follows in the same sort of fashion as that. I'm sure it'll be a very good one. It's very highly rated on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. But today we're going to go to Newport in Wales, which is just to the east of Cardiff, and have a taste of a beer from Tiny Rebel, and this one is called FUBAR, which I believe stands for Fucked Up Beyond All Recognition, but I might be wrong about that. But it's very highly rated on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, so it should be an awesome one for us to try. But as is usual then with my beer reviews, we'll go through a very, very short history of the brewery. It is very short for this one, so just fast forward a few minutes if you are simply interested in the tasting. And as always, the brewery website's in the video description for you below, along with a link that will take you to my future Tiny Rebel beer reviews. I will be getting more of these beers in because, as I say, they're very, very highly rated beers. And this is a very decorated brewery actually. So Tiny Rebel were founded back in 2008 by two guys, Gaz and Brad, and they used to homebrew in a garage and they became pretty good at it. And they say that the idea for the Tiny Rebel Brewery was born in 2010, and then they actually launched officially in February of 2012, and they're based, as I mentioned to you, in Newport, which is just to the east of Cardiff. In 2013, they actually went on to do very well at the Great Welsh Beer Festival, and they also won gold, silver and bronze with 3 different beers in the Champion Beer of Wales competition. That year, the FUBAR actually won silver, and then the next year it won gold in the same competition, I believe. So as I say to you, they're a very highly decorated brewery for having not been around for all that long. But they actually have opened up the Cardiff's first ever craft beer bar called Urban Tap House in Cardiff. So go and have a look at that, and I think that was actually the very first craft beer bar in Wales, so definitely go and check it out. And I do know Brewdog have expanded down in Cardiff as well, so you do seem to have quite a good little craft beer scene going on there, and from what I hear, the Welsh are actually producing some really, really nice stuff. But that's your sort of brief history of the Tiny Rebel Brewery. But just to read out the other beers you can get from these guys, in the bottles that you'll be able to buy, you get the Belgian Urban IPA, FUBAR, this guy here, which is apparently an American IPA, the Haddocken, which is an amplified IPA, the Full Nelson, which is a Maori IPA, of course the Nelson Sauvin hop comes from New Zealand, the Dirty Stop Out, which is a smoked oat stout, and they also have NP10, which is a Belgian style strong ale. So that should be a really interesting one. But let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting here. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at it here. Let me just see. So this guy is a 4.4% American Pale Ale. I couldn't find what the hop base and stuff was on this one, but as you can see, it's actually got quite a cool sort of kind of apocalyptic modern sort of artwork, if you like, and you can see the little teddy bear down there, which is the symbol of Tiny Rebel. He's lost his arm there and got a bit of blood coming out of it, and it's got a nice kind of I think that's a World War II style hand grenade. I'm not sure, it might be a little bit later than that, but it's quite cool nonetheless. You can see just on the back there's a little bit of detail about the beer. I'll just bring up the lights playing me up on this one a little bit. You can just see it down there as it says 4.4%. It does have a little bit of a product description on it too, so I'll just read that to you. It says, a unique schizophrenic beer where you'll face off against floral hoppy flavours up front, leading into a dry spicy bitterness on the back. So should be a really nice interesting one there. As you can see here is a plain bottle cap on this one. It'd be cool to actually have the little teddy bears on that in white or in black or something. That would be really nice, but as I've said with a few of my beer reviews, I think it's actually quite expensive for them to do that. But anyway, let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting here. I'm really looking forward to trying this guy for you, because this is another one I've picked up from Lewis in Thistle News in Aberdeen. So if you do happen to be watching from the Aberdeen area of Scotland, be sure to go in and check out his little range of beers. The Facebook page is in the video description for you below. There's a lot of Toole and McKellar, but you do get kind of random things from New Zealand and Wales and stuff like this, which is obviously where I've picked up this guy. So go and check him out. So anyway, as you can see, the beer is poured a really nice kind of bright, clear golden colour actually. Just a slight little bit of haze to it. There's a lot of carbonation visible on this one. Just a tiny, tiny little bit of sediment. I'll just bring the light up so you can get a good idea of the colour of this one actually. That's a good point for the light. But as you can see, it's come out very nicely. It's got just about a half finger of a frothy white head. Really nice looking beer, and as I say, there's quite a good bit of carbonation visible in this one, so it should be quite a well carbonated IPA, quite a light and sessionable one hopefully. But let's see how we get on here. And the one thing you can actually smell in this, you can smell just how kind of hoppy and fresh this beer is when you pour it without even paying too much attention to it. But let's see what we can actually find in the aroma. So you've got a really kind of floral and aromatic-y hop character in there, and a lot of kind of pine and citrus as well, actually. It all blends together really well. Yeah, I would stick with that. You definitely have a sort of doughy, you've got a little doughy aroma underneath that, actually. And a little bit of kind of biscuit sweetness as well, maybe just a little bit of caramel mixing in there. The sort of malt base on this one is quite noticeable when you take it in, and the hops aren't too over pungent in the aroma. It's actually one of the better balanced aromas I've come across, actually, where it's easier to detect things in it. But yeah, there's definitely a sweet kind of biscuity aroma when you breathe it in or sniff it in quite deeply. Some bread, sweet biscuity with a bit of doughy bread. But overall, the more sharp component of the aroma definitely is the hops. But as I say, it's quite well balanced. But you're picking up some kind of nice piney aromas in there, citrus and floral aromatic character, a bit of grassiness too. And maybe there's even just a little bit of tropical fruit in there, but I think it's mainly a pine resin and citrus and aromatic character that's in there. If there's any tropical fruit, it's very, very sort of faint, I would say. But let's give it a taste and see how we go on. Just take a little bit of time with this beer and get used to the aroma. As I said, it's one of the more balanced ones that I've actually come across in this kind of American Pale Ale style, so give it a go. It's quite interesting, actually. But yeah, it's definitely quite sweet. You've got a little bit of kind of toasted malt in there, a little bit of caramel, and kind of you're getting a good little mix of the kind of yeasty and bready characters, actually. It moves into the kind of piney and it moves into the sort of piney hops quite quickly, actually, and you've got that nice floral and aromatic spice coming out on the end, like they're saying on the bottle. But in the opening, it's definitely coming out with the malty character first, I would say. You've got, as I say, you've got some quite sweet bready and toasty malts in there, just a little bit of caramel too. But yeah, it's got a really nice kind of little spicy character on the finish as well, as they were saying. It's a really interesting one. It's not it's quite different from a number of American Pale Ales I've tried before. It is mainly a kind of it is really a very citric and aromatic-y kind of aroma that you're getting, or flavour that you're getting from this guy. It does have a little tiny bit of earthy character to it as well, I think. You're getting that just on the back of the palate. But around the edges and on the top of the mouth, you've got this nice aromatic, floral, citric character. The grassiness is in there too, actually. It's a very sort of fresh and refreshing beer. It's definitely a summer one, this guy. But yeah, at the back of the palate, you're definitely getting the nice toasty bready malts kind of coming out, a little bit of caramel mixed in. Around the edges of the tongue, you're getting the aromatic-y, citric and grassy character, and there is a little bit of earthy character that does spread itself around on the palate there as well. But I'm saying, on the finish and into the aftertaste as well, that little bit of earthy character is lying there, and the floral kind of aromatic character sitting around the edge there, and it is quite spicy, actually. The spice character comes out a bit more on the kind of on the aftertaste, I would say. But yeah, it's a really interesting beer, actually. It's quite different from the other ones I've tried in the style. But it blends really well, actually. It's very interesting. Actually, to me, it reminds me more of an English Pale Ale than an American one, unless I've maybe taken the notes wrong that it's an American Pale Ale. But it definitely reminds me more of a sort of English Pale Ale, actually, with a kind of more floral and aromatic character. Usually the American ones are a good bit more fruity than this, because the citrus, I would say the citrus in this one blends a little bit more with the kind of floral aromatic character that you get out of this beer. But it's a very, very nice beer nonetheless. I mean, you can go on about styles and things like that all day, but it's more important the flavour of this beer. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, It's definitely a light-bodied one. It's got a slight little bit of oily character to it as well. And the carbonation's a lot less actually than I would have thought with the amount of carbonation that was visible in it too. But it's slightly dry and bitter in the finish as well. But it's an easily sessionable IPA nonetheless. It's very nice actually, and it's quite interesting, as I say to you. So I mean, it's definitely one that you would take and sit outside and enjoy in the summer day. It's quite an easy drinking sessionable IPA. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my first review from the Tiny Rebel Brewery. It's been really quite an interesting one to do for you, so I'll need to try some of their other beers. But as always, let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer review. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it informative. I've enjoyed doing my first one from these guys, and as I say, I will look for more of their beers. But as always, thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I'll catch you soon with another beer review. You've been watching Goddard Radio Moscow. Cheers.